This video is about how Song conned his wolf but his council called her a witch. If this story captivates you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. Her Song calmed his wolf but his council called her a witch. The moon hung low on the horizon, a silver pendant draped across an indigo sky. It cast an ethereal light upon the forest surrounding the glade of awakening, where the air thrummed with the pulse of anticipation. Rowan, the newly appointed alpha of the silver-shaped pack, stood at the edge of the glade, his heart racing. He felt the shift of his wolf within, restless and wild under the luminous orb's gaze. "Rowan," came a voice, breaking the stillness. It was Cashin, his second-in-command, stepping out from the shadows with an air of urgency. "The council has called for your presence. They wish to discuss the stranger who crossed our borders." Rowan turned sharply, his brow furrowed. "Stranger? What are you talking about?" Cashin swallowed hard, glancing back as though the trees themselves might be eavesdropping. "A woman. She was seen singing to the river nearby. The elders believe she is using dark magic." "Magic?" Rowan scoffed, a growl simmering in his throat. "You know as well as I do that magic is a myth among our kind. She could simply be a traveler." "You know how the council is," Cashin replied, his tone heavy with concern. "They are convinced she is a witch, and they fear her presence could bring doom to the pack. You must come with me." Rowan hesitated, his instincts swelling with equal parts curiosity and irritation. A witch? The thought sent a shiver through him. But he felt a pull, a whisper in the back of his mind urging him to seek this woman out. "Lead the way," he said at last, determination hardening his features. As they walked through the dense woods, shadows danced upon the ground, mocking their every step. Rowan felt the weight of his position pressing down on his shoulders. The silver-shaped pack had always been steeped in tradition, and the council's fear of the unknown could fracture the delicate balance they maintained. They arrived at the council's meeting place, a vast clearing encircled by ancient trees that bore witness to countless generations. The elders sat on raised stone thrones, their faces lined with worry, their eyes sharp as they regarded Rowan. "Alpha Rowan," Elder Marin began, her voice trembling with authority. "Do you understand the gravity of the situation? This woman poses a threat to our way of life." "I am not ready to condemn her based on rumor," Rowan replied, feeling the heat of anger rise within him. "What do we truly know about her?" "She sings to the river, and men have been drawn to her like moths to a flame," Elder Thorn interjected, his voice low and gravelly. "We cannot allow her to linger." Rowan clenched his fists, his wolf roaring to the surface. "What if she is not a threat? What if she is someone in need of help?" The council exchanged glances, their skepticism palpable. "A witch is a witch, boy," Elder Marin said sharply. "We cannot afford to be naive." The tension thickened in the air, and Rowan felt his wolf stir, a primal instinct urging him to defend what he didn't yet know. "I'll speak with her," he declared, his voice firm. "And I'll determine her fate." With that, he turned on his heel and strode back into the shadows of the trees, determination fueling his steps. He needed to find her to understand the source of the pull he felt. The moon was high in the sky when he finally reached the riverbank. There she was a vision, ethereal and enchanting. Her long, dark hair cascaded like a waterfall over her shoulders, and her eyes glimmered like the stars above. She sang softly, her voice blending with the sound of the water, creating a melody that soothed his restless soul. "Who are you?" he called, stepping closer, his heart pounding in his chest. The song faltered as she turned, her gaze locking with his. "I am Amara," she replied, a hint of surprise coloring her voice. "I am just a traveler, lost in this world." Rowan felt a warmth spread through him, a connection that defied explanation. "You've crossed into Silvershade territory. The council believes you are a threat." "A threat?" Amara's brow furrowed. "I mean no harm. I only seek solace by the water." He took a step forward, drawn to her like a moth to the flame. "Your song, it calms my wolf. There is something about you, something different." "Different?" she echoed, a soft smile gracing her lips. "Or perhaps just misunderstood." His heart raced. "The council thinks you are a witch. They want to banish you." Amara's expression darkened, and she looked away towards the river. Witchcraft is often just kindness misinterpreted by those with fear in their hearts. "Then let me help you," Rowan urged, desperation lacing his words. "I can speak for you, protect you." "Why would you do that?" she asked, searching his eyes for sincerity. "Because I can't ignore the sus." He extended a hand, but she flinched, and for a moment a shadow crossed her face. "Please, let me assure you that not all wolves are driven by fear." A heavy silence enveloped them, electric and filled with unspoken tension. Her gaze softened, and she stepped closer. Have ye seen your kind before, fierce yet kind, but the council's judgment is swift and unforgiving. Then let them see you for yourself, he urged, emboldened. You deserve to be heard. Amara smiled sadly. I fear what they might see. I am not what they expect. Rowan shook his head, frustration bubbling within him. You are more than just a song or a rumor. You are real, and I'll fight for you. Rowan, she whispered, stepping back. Fighting might lead to more pain. Pain can be worth it if it means protecting what is precious, he replied, his voice low and earnest. Please trust me. But doubt flickered in her eyes. You don't know what you're asking for. This isn't just about me, it is about your pack. And it is about us, he said, desperation creeping into his voice. I can shake this feeling that we meant to find each other. At that, her facade cracked, revealing a vulnerability he hadn't anticipated. You don't understand the danger. What if the council decides to act against you? I'd rather face them with you by my side than live in a world that doesn't allow for love. His heart ached, longing to bridge the chasm between them. Tears glimmered in her eyes, and she looked away, the moonlight casting a silver sheen across her delicate features. You speak of love, but I am bound by fate to a different path, a path of solitude and preservation. Fate? He echoed, the word hanging heavily between them. Isn't love a choice, the choice we can make? Love may be a choice, but destiny is often cruel, she murmured. I cannot allow my presence to bring harm to you or your pack. Rowan stepped closer, desperation clawing at his chest. What if I defy destiny? What if I choose you? Amara's breath hitched, and for a moment the world seemed to stand still. The current of their feelings surged between them, powerful and raw, but the weight of her fears held her back. Rowan, she whispered, her voice trembling like leaves in the wind. This could end in tragedy. Then we'll face that tragedy together, he said, his voice a vow. I won't let fear dictate our fate. As he reached for her, she hesitated, but the pull between them was undeniable. The moon bathed them in silver light, illuminating the truth that danced in the air, two souls intertwined, caught between the jagged edges of duty and desire. Promise me, Rowan, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, that you'll be careful. I promise, he replied, his heart soaring with hope. Together, they stepped into the unknown, ready to challenge the darkness that threatened to tear them apart. But in the shadows, unseen eyes watched their every move, and the council's whispers of witchcraft echoed through the trees, a storm brewing on the horizon, ready to shatter their fragile bond. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. Her song calmed his wolf, but his council called her a witch pot too. Asterisk. The forest felt alive, wrapped in a cloak of tension. Rowan and Amara stood on the riverbank, the moonlight spilling over them like liquid silver. They were two figures caught between the pull of two walls, their hearts thundering against the backdrop of fate. Together, we'll face whatever comes, Rowan vowed, his voice steady despite the storm churning within him. He reached for her hand, brushing his fingers against her soft skin. The contact ignited sparks of warmth, but she drew back, her eyes filled with conflict. Rowan, you don't understand, she whispered, her voice barely above the rush of the river. The council is fierce and unfounded. I carry the weight of a past that might endanger you. Whatever shadows you bear, I'll help you carry them, he insisted, sensing the flicker of hope in her gaze. You are not alone anymore. She bit her lip, wrestling with emotions that threatened to spill over. I've seen packs torn apart by fear and misunderstanding. I couldn't live with myself if I brought that upon you. Rowan's heart ached at the thought of losing her, even before they had fully begun. But what if you could show them who you truly are? You are not a witch. You are extraordinary. Extraordinary? She echoed, a bitter laugh escaping her lips. What does that even mean? Extraordinary is simply a label placed by those who fear the unknown. I am just a woman trying to find her place. And I am a wolf trying to find his. Maybe our places are meant to intertwine, he said, desperation lacing his words. Let me take you to the pack. Let them see you for what you are. Amara's gaze pierced his, searching for any trace of doubt. You're risking everything. Your position, your pack. I'd rather risk it all for you than live in a world that doesn't accept love, he interrupted, the intensity of his feelings pouring forth. You matter to me, Amara. The air thickened with unspoken emotions, and he longed to bridge the distance between them. But she stepped back again, shaking her head. And what if the council decides you're a threat by association? Then won't he hesitate to act? Then I'll fight them, he vowed, a fierce determination igniting within him. I won't let fear win, not when I know in my heart that you are meant to be part of my world. Your heart is brave. Rowan, she said, tears glistening in her eyes. But bravery won't save us from the wrath of the council. It will if we stand together, he insisted. We be stronger united. I can feel it in my bones. My wolfie recognizes you as his mate. At that, Amara's breath caught, and he saw the flicker of hope in her expression. Mate, you believe in that? I believe in us, he replied, his voice husky with emotion. No matter what they might say, I can't deny this bond. It is more powerful than anything I've ever known. What if it is accursed? She whispered, the weight of her fears pinning her down. What if it is destined to end in tragedy? Then let us rewrite that destiny together. He took a step forward, closing the distance between them, his heart pounding against the walls of uncertainty. Let us create our own story. Amara's eyes shimmered with tears, the moonlight illuminating the beauty of her struggle. I've never allowed myself to hope for something like this, she admitted, her voice quaking. I don't want to lose you. You want to lose me, not without a fight, he declared, and he could see the flicker of resolve in her gaze. We all faced the council together. As she contemplated his words, the night around them shifted, shadows lengthening as if sensing the weight of their decision. But just then, the soft rustle of leaves broke the moment-esque cocoon. Rowan's instincts kicked in, and he turned sharply, scanning the darkness. Run? Amara whispered, her voice a threat of fear. Stay close, he commanded, eyes narrowed. The air crackled with tension, the scent of unfamiliar wolves penetrating the tranquil night. From the shadows, two figures emerged, their postures rigid, eyes gleaming with authority. It was Elder Thorn and another council member, L'Oreal, her silver hair flowing like a waterfall. Alpha Rowan, Thorn spoke, voice low and menacing. We've come for the witch. Enough. Rowan stepped forward, the energy of his wolf surging beneath her skin. Amara isn't a witch, she is a traveler. A traveler who sings to the river and enchants men, L'Oreal interjected, her voice sharp as a blade. She poses a threat, and you know it. She poses no threat to us. Rowan growled, his wolf roaring to the surface. You are blinded by your fear of the unknown. Fear is a survival instinct, Alpha, Thorn replied, crossing his arms. You are jeopardizing your pack's safety by allowing her to remain here. Amara stood behind Rowan, her presence a soothing balm to his raging wolf. I mean no harm, she spoke, her voice steady despite the tension. I only seek solace. Your kind of solace carries darkness, L'Oreal hissed, taking a step closer. We can let our young be enchanted by your song, that is witchcraft. Enough. Rowan snapped, the force of his command echoing through the glade. You will not speak of her that way. I will not let you harm her. You think your defiance will shield her from our judgment? Thorn's voice dripped with disdain. This isn't just about your feelings, it is about the safety of the entire pack. Then let her speak for herself, Rowan insisted, his heart pounding with urgency. Let her show you who she truly is. L'Oreal scoffed, but there was a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. And if she fails to convince us? Then I will accept the consequences, Rowan replied, his resolve unshakable. But I refuse to condemn her based on fear alone. Amara stepped beside him, her presence strong as she faced the council. I promise, I will not bring harm to your pack. All I ask is for a chance to show you the truth. The elders exchanged wary glances, the air thick with unspoken tension. Very well, Thorn finally said, his tone begrudging. You will speak at the next council meeting, but know this, should you fail to convince us, there will be dire consequences. Rowan's heart raced, a mix of relief and fear flooding him. He turned to Amara, who stood with a newfound determination in her gaze. You'll be okay, he whispered, his hand finding hers. Will I? She replied, her voice trembling. What if they see only what they wish to see? Then we'll face that together, he promised, his grip tightening around her hand. I want to let them tear us apart. The council retreated into the shadows, their figures disappearing into the night, leaving Rowan and Amara alone once more. The silence felt heavy, filled with unspoken fears and hopes. What have we done? Amara murmured, her voice a fragile whisper. We've taken the first step towards the truth, Rowan replied, his heart steadying. And I believe in you, Amara, with all my heart. Then I will fight for us, she said, a fierce glimmer igniting in her eyes. But I cannot do it alone. He stepped closer, their breaths mingling in the cool night air. I'll never be alone again, I am right here. As they stood united, the weight of their future pressed against them, a storm was gathering. Yet among the chaos, a spark of hope flickered, igniting the path ahead. The journey was just beginning, a tale woven from love and courage, destined to defy the odds. But in the shadows, the council watched, their whispers thickening the air with tension. The battle for love and acceptance had only just begun. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. A song conned his wolf but his council called her a witch. Part 3 asterisk. The moon hung high above, casting a silver glow that danced upon the river's surface where Rowan and Amara stood, each caught in a web of apprehension and unspoken hope. Their hearts were entwined like the roots of the ancient trees surrounding them, but looming darkness threatened to sever those ties. "I never asked for this," Amara whispered, her voice trembling as she gazed into the depths of the water. "To be a pawn in a game of fear and power." Rowan stepped closer, his presence a comforting warmth. "You are not a pawn, Amara. You are a force of nature, a light in this world overshadowed by fear, and I'll make them see that." Her eyes searched his, filled with a mix of admiration and worry. But what if they refuse to listen? What if they see only the witch they've conjured in their minds? "I'll make them listen," he replied fiercely, determination flaring within him. "They need to understand that love is not a weakness, it is our greatest strength." The air crackled with tension as they stood at the precipice of fate, and Amara felt the weight of his words. "Rowan, my past is not a simple tale. The scars I carried are deep. I don't want you to fight my battles." "Then let me fight beside you," he insisted, his voice steady. "You don't have to bear this alone. We'll all face whatever comes together." She swallowed hard, torn between the comfort of his resolve and the shadows of her insecurities. "But what if they deem me dangerous? What if I bring destruction to your pack?" "Then we'll all find a way to prove them wrong," he said, his eyes fierce. "You are not defined by their fears, Amara. You are so much more than their labels." Amara looked away, her heart pounding with the weight of his words. "You believe in me so fiercely, but I can shake this feeling of impending doom. What if I bring you nothing but heartache?" "Then I'll take that heartache," he vowed, his voice a low growl. "As long as I have a chance to keep you by my side, I'll endure anything." Their hands intertwined, a silent promise forged in the stillness of the night. But as the moonlight shimmered around them, a chilling howl pierced the air, echoing through the trees, a reminder that they were never truly alone. The council meeting loomed, a gathering that would test their bond against the tides of fear and prejudice. Rowan felt the weight of impending judgment heavy on his shoulders, but he refused to let despair take root. He would fight for Amara, for them, for what they represented together. The following day, tension thrummed in the air as the pack assembled in the sacred clearing, the council's stone thrones looming like sentinels. Amara stood beside Rowan, her heart racing as a crowd of wary eyes scrutinized her every move. "Are you ready?" Rowan asked, his voice low, a fierce determination glimmering in his gaze. Amara let out a shaky breath, nodding despite the flutter of doubt in her chest. "I'll try for us." The elders took their places, Elder Thorn's gaze sharp as a hawk's, while Laurel's silver hair shimmered like a warning. "We have gathered here today to address the presence of the woman who has infiltrated our lands," Thorn began, his voice a gravelly rumble. "Foul whispers speak of witchcraft," Laurel added, her tone laced with disdain. "And we cannot allow such darkness to fester among us." One stepped forward, his heart pounding fiercely. "She is not a witch. Amara is a traveler who has brought nothing but kindness and light to our pack." "Mere words cannot shield her from the truth," Thorn countered, his eyes narrowing. "What proof do you have that she does not carry the taint of dark magic?" Silence fell over the gathering, the weight of doubt palpable in the air. Amara felt the eyes of the pack upon her, each gaze a dagger driven into her heart. She took a deep breath, summoning the courage she had found in Rowan. "I do not wish to bring harm," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor within. "I only seek peace. My song, it is not a spell, it is a release, a balm for the weary." A murmur rippled through the crowd, but Laurel stepped forward, her voice cutting through the tension. "Peace is often a mask for danger. We cannot allow ourselves to be enchanted by her lullabies." Rowan growled, his wolf pushing against the surface. "You cannot silence her. Amara deserves to be heard, to be understood. She has the right to defend herself." "What do you know of her?" Laurel challenged, her eyes narrowing. "What do you truly see when you look at her? Love, or foolish infatuation?" "I see a woman who fights against the shadows of her past," Rowan countered, his voice raw with emotion. "A woman who deserves a chance to show her true self." "Enough!" Thorn bellowed, his authority ringing through the clearing. "Amara, you will speak, convince us of your innocence, or face the consequences." Rowan's heart raced as he turned to Amara. "You can do this," he urged, squeezing her hand tightly. "Show them who you are." Amara took a deep breath, her heart pounding. I am not a witch. I carry no dark magic. I am here only to heal, to find a place where I belong. A flicker of doubt crossed Thorn's face, and Amara pressed on. I know what it is like to be judged for things beyond my control. They have witnessed entire packs torn apart by fear of something they do not understand. What makes you different? Thorn challenged. Why should we trust you? Because I know what it is like to be alone, she replied, her voice trembling with raw honesty. And I wouldn't wish that pain on anyone, especially not those who seek love and acceptance. But even as she spoke, Rowan felt an ominous weight settling over the meeting. He could sense the council's growing restlessness, the way they shifted uneasily in their seats. A single voice cut through the air, sharp as broken glass. Her presence enchants the forest. A voice echoed from the back, a pack member, one who had been swayed by the council's whispers. What if she leads us into ruin? Ah! Rowan roared, stepping forward, feeling the heat of his wolf beneath his skin. She is not our enemy. She is the key to a new beginning, one that we cannot afford to reject. But the murmurs of dissent swelled, like storm clouds gathering on the horizon. Amara's heart sank as she sensed the tide turning, the very air around them thickening with fear and distrust. Enough of this! Thorn exclaimed, his voice booming over the crowd. If you cannot convince us of your purity, then the consequences must be faced. We cannot allow darkness to invade our home. Panic surged within Amara. What do you mean? She gasped, fear clawing at her heart. The only way to cleanse our lands of your influence is through exile, L'Oreal declared, her eyes cold and unyielding. You will be banished from here, never to return. Ah! Rowan stepped forward, fury igniting as his instincts roared to life. You cannot do this. Thorn's gaze hardened. You would defy the council for a witch? She is not a witch, he insisted, his voice a fierce growl. She is my mate. I will not allow you to cast her out. Gasps rippled through the pack, disbelief mingling with shock. Amara's heart raced as she turned to Rowan, the weight of his declaration sinking in. Mate, she breathed, emotions swirling within her. Yes, he affirmed, his gaze unwavering. You are my bond, my future, and I will fight for you. Tears brimmed in her eyes, a whirlwind of emotions flooding through her. But what of your pack, your position? I don't care about the position, he declared, fierce resolve in his eyes. I care about you. Rowan, please, she whispered, her heart aching. You don't understand the dangers. But I do understand, he replied, stepping closer, urgency fueling his voice. The dangers in denying who we are, together. We can face this together. We can change their hearts. The pack was silent, their gazes shifting from Rowan to Amara, uncertainty clouding their judgment. But the council remained unmoved, their authority unyielding. Then you will be banished as well, Alpha, Thorn declared, his voice cold. You put your loyalty before the safety of our pack, and for that, you will face the consequences. Rowan's heart sank as the gravity of their words crashed down upon him. He looked at Amara, who stood with tears streaming down her face, the weight of his choice settling heavily upon her. It is not worth it, Rowan, she murmured, her voice breaking. Asterisk son calmed his wolf up at his council, called her a witch pot for asterisk. The moon's glow, once a gentle embrace, now cast long shadows over the clearing, where betrayal and love hung heavily in the air. Rowan stood before the council, his heart a tempest of defiance and uncertainty, while Amara felt the weight of hopelessness pressing down on her chest. Rowan, please, she implored, her voice trembling as she stepped closer, desperate to reach him. You don't have to do this. You have your pack, your future. I can be the reason you throw it all away. Enough. He gripped her shoulders, forcing her to meet his gaze. You are my future. I'll not let them dictate my heart. You reward every fight, Amara. We can withstand this together. Tears glistened in her eyes, the pain of their predicament choking her words. But what if we lose? What if they cast you out, and I am left alone? Rowan's grip tightened, his wolf roaring within him. You will never be alone again. You are my mate. Our bond is stronger than their fears. I will not allow them to tear us apart. Elder Thorn's voice cut through the tension, hard and unyielding. You may love her, Alpha, but your feelings do not shield her from the truth. She is an outsider, untested, unproven. We cannot risk our pack for your infatuation. Bitter laughter bubbled in Amara's throat. Infatuation, she whispered, her heart aching at the thought of how they dismissed the very essence of their connection. You think I wanted this, to be thrust into a world where love is treated as a curse? Enough. L'Oreal snapped, her silver hair glinting like a sword in the moonlight. Your presence here has already stirred discontent. The wolves grow restless, Alpha. If you continue to stand by her, we will have no choice but to act. Then act. Rowan's voice was raw, filled with a fury that ignited the air around him. I will not stand idly by as you condemn her for being different. It is you who are blinded by your own ignorance. The council members exchanged nervous glances, the tension thickening as they sized up the resolute young alpha. Amara felt a flicker of hope ignite within her, but it was quickly extinguished by the council as unyielding resolve. Your loyalty will be your downfall, Rowan, Thorn warned, his voice a chilling whisper. Entertain the idea that you may lose everything for her. The silence that followed felt suffocating, and Amara sensed the ripples of doubt spreading among the pack members. She turned to Rowan, her heart heavy. Maybe it is best if I leave, Rowan. I can watch you sacrifice everything for my sake. Death? Rowan's roar echoed through the glade, sending shivers down Amara's spine. You will not run. You are stronger than this. We will face it together. We will show them that love conquers fear. But even as he spoke, doubt gnawed at his insides. How could they possibly overcome the council's power? They were steadfast in their beliefs, and he could see the flicker of doubt in Amara's eyes. Love does not always conquer, she whispered, sorrow etched across her delicate features. Sometimes it leads to ruin. Amara, he breathed, reaching out to cup her cheek. You are my heart. I cannot let fear dictate our destiny. The council's whispers became a murmuring storm, their eyes narrowing in judgment. Enough of this foolishness, Laurel declared, her voice laced with disdain. The elder Thorn, what shall we do with them? Thorn's gaze was cold, a wolf assessing its prey. Then let them face each other as truth, he said, his voice low and menacing. A trial of bonds will be set. We will see if the connection is stronger than the shadows that threaten our pack. What do you mean? Amara asked, dread pulling in her stomach. A trial, Thorn elaborated, his eyes glinting with authority. You shall face your fears, and when dawn breaks, the truth must reveal itself. If your bond withstands the test, you shall be free to stay. If not, Rowan's growl reverberated in his chest. You would use us like your pawns. This is madness. Madness is allowing a witch to roam our lands unchecked, Thorn countered, steely resolve etched on his face. Prepare yourselves. The trial begins at first light. The moon will set, and with it, your fate shall be decided. As the council retreated into the darkness, leaving Rowan and Amara alone once more, a suffocating silence enveloped them. Amara's heart raced. Could their bond truly survive this test? Rowan, she whispered, her voice faltering. What if we can prove them wrong? Then we will fight, he replied fiercely, his eyes burning with determination. I want to allow them to define our love, Amara. I will not lose you. But as the night deepened, uncertainty gripped Amara's heart. The idea of facing her past, of unearthing all the shadows that haunted her, filled her with dread. I can Rowan. What if they see me for what I really am? What if I fail? You are not defined by what they choose to see, he said, his voice unwavering. You are more than the whispers that surround you. You are strength, beauty, and everything that my wolf craves. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she felt the weight of his words. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to bring ruin to your pack. We will not let fear win, he said fiercely. You are my mate, Amara, and I will protect you with everything I have. Together, we will face whatever darkness lies ahead. As dawn approached, dread twisted in Amara's stomach. The trial would reveal their strengths, their weaknesses, their very souls. Would their love weave a tapestry of light that could withstand the shadows, or would it unravel before the council's eyes? The rising sun cast a golden hue over the glade, illuminating the clearing where the trial would take place. Rowan and Amara stood side by side, hearts racing as the council assembled, their expressions resolute. Today, you will face your truths, Elder Thorn declared, his voice echoing through the air. The trial will reveal the depths of your bond. If you are found wanting, you will be separated for the safety of the pack. Amara's heart sank, but Rowan squeezed her hand, grounding her amidst the storm. We will face this together, he murmured, his breath warm against her ear. The air crackled with tension as the council began the trial, a series of challenges designed to test their emotional and spiritual connection. Amara braced herself, every instinct screaming to flee, but the warmth of Rowan's hand anchored her. First, you will confront your deepest fears, Elder Laurel announced, her eyes flashing with authority. Step forward and unveil your hidden truths. Rowan stepped up first, taking a breath that resonated with the strength of his wolf. I fear losing my pack. I fear that my heart will lead them into darkness and despair. A wave of energy washed over him, and before his eyes, an ethereal mist enveloped him, the air thick with shadows. He saw visions of his pack torn apart, chaos and pain swelling around him. But through it all, Amara's voice echoed like a soothing melody. Rowan, remember who you are, she whispered, her presence a beacon of light. You are their alpha. Your love can lead them to a brighter path. With renewed strength, Rowan broke free from the shadows, the mist dissipating as he returned to Amara's side. I will not let fear dictate my choices, he declared, his voice resolute. Now it was Amara's turn to step forward, tread pulling in her stomach. I fear that my past will consume me, she admitted, her voice trembling. I've seen the destruction wrought by fear, and I fear that I am that destruction. The mist swirled around her, revealing visions of her own, a past filled with betrayal, loneliness, and heartache. She felt the icy grip of doubt clutching at her heart, but just as she began to falter, she felt Rowan's presence beside her, anchoring her in the storm. Amara, you are not your past, he urged, his voice a warm caress. You are a force of love and healing. You can break free from the shadows. With a surge of courage, Amara broke free from the mist, stepping back to Rowan's side, their hands entwined. I choose love, she declared, her voice steady. I refuse to let my past define me. The council watched, their faces a mixture of skepticism and intrigue. But the final test remains, Elder Thorn warned, his voice grave. You must face the ultimate choice. One of you must be sacrificed for the other. Gasps rippled through the gathering, and Amara felt her heart drop into the depths of despair.